There's an MLS team in Miami called Inter Miami. Inter Miami is owned by a guy named George Moss. George Moss was a potential bidder. He was a bidder for the Marlins when Jeter bought the Marlins. He is a well-known entity in Miami. His family has a company, big company called Mastec, Mastec, as in Jorge Mas, MAS, get it? Swept in after not getting the Marlins, swept in and bought the MLS soccer team in Miami, invested money so he could take over, be in charge, because David Beckham could not get a group together for half a decade. Biggest struggle ever to get a deal done. And David Beckham was given the right to have an expansion franchise at a $25 million expansion fee, where the actual fee is now over $100 million. So Inter Miami is in good shape to start with financially, except they're in Miami, except they have no place to play. They built some stadium in Fort Lauderdale that's mediocre. They can't stay there long term. It was done on the cheap, and it looks that way, and that's not what MLS, believe me, if there's no new stadium in Miami, that team is leaving Miami. They're not going to play at the Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, where the Orioles used to spring train, but they built another facility right there. That is not a long-term solution. So David Beckham, when I was trying to get involved with Inter Miami, I made it clear there's only one way I'd get involved, and that's if David Beckham is committed to actually being a part of the team. I need him to go on business meetings, marketing calls. During the game, he's got to meet with sponsors. I need him to run the soccer side as well, bring in good people. I need David Beckham in Miami, and I knew that wasn't going to happen because he doesn't like Miami, no matter what he says. His wife doesn't like Miami. It's a thing, I guess. I guess people think if you're in Miami, you're going to do stuff like at Live or 11 or something. Whatever. In any case. So Jorge Mas comes in, takes over the role of chairman, which used to be a guy named Marcelo Clore, who is the chairman of Sprint, which is a phone company. He was the original guy leading the charge, but he put a little money in, and that money got wasted, and then they needed more money, and he didn't want to do it, so they found Jorge Mas. David Beckham never wanted to put money in. He was putting it in his name. So his investment in that team is zero, by the way, and he owns a piece of it. All of this is fine. Inter Miami gets the team. They field the team. I don't know if they lost the other day, I saw, but I don't know. I don't think they've been that good. Doesn't matter. All of a sudden this weekend, news comes out that Inter Miami has been cheating. And I don't mean by hitting garbage cans. I'm talking about cheating in a way that is unforgivable. There are rules in Major League Soccer about the amount of money you can spend on players. There are rules in Major League Soccer about designating a player, and you can only have a certain number of designated players, and those players can make a designated amount of money. The totality of your salary can be a total and must be a total amount of money. Interestingly enough, it's not like the NFL where you hire people, or the NBA where you hire people to try to avoid the cap, and that's a thing, right? Salary cap avoidance, spreading the hit of the cap, dead money on the cap, all of that exists in the NFL and in the NBA. That's not what's going on in MLS. Jorge Mas comes in and says, I've got an idea. Let's sign players to a deal that includes a off-the-book payment, like the kind we gave to Barry Bonds when he was the hitting coach, that kind of off-the-book payment that no one needs to know about. No one needs to know. We're going to have these players sign a side marketing deal. We're going to have them go to Chick-fil-A on Sunday, say hello to all the people, and then we're going to give them an extra $500,000 for those Sunday appearances with the masses. The only problem is that's illegal. That's a violation of Major League Soccer rules. And Miami didn't do this one time or two times or three times. They did it multiple times. So Major League Soccer stood up this weekend and said, hi, I'm Don Garber. I love you, David Beckham, for everything you've done for Major League Soccer. I've bent over backwards to the point that I've got an L4, L5 break. That's how much I've bent over so you could be in Miami and have a team. I've showed patience. I've put up with more than I've ever needed to. And this is what you do? You're fined $2 million. $2 million. They fined the racist ex-owner of the Salt Lake City team like $125. $2 million. The worst in Major League Soccer history for violating the roster rules and the salary budget. But that's not it. Because a $2 million fine, Jorge Mas will go to the bank and borrow against his shares in his public company. No problem. $2 million. By the way, it's a big problem no matter how rich you are, but he'll pay it. But they also are lowering the salary cap for Inter Miami. That's their punishment. That the amount of money they can have to sign players over the next 2 years is going to be lower than other teams. So not only will they be watched like a hawk, but also they won't be able to spend as much as their competitors, which means they're going to stink for longer than they should have. Was it worth it, Jorge? Jorge made a statement. Inter Miami acknowledges that the club violated Major League Soccer's roster rules in our first season. We have worked closely with MLS to address these issues and have made significant changes in our management structure. Give me a break. That's what your statement is? You're the one who got personally fined, Jorge, on top of the $2 million. You were fined $250,000 because of what you did. Your job is to protect Beckham, which you did. What a terrible job. What do you do if you're Beckham? Hey, I had no idea. Wow, that makes me an idiot. Hey, I knew exactly what we were doing. Oh my God, that makes me a criminal. Not a real criminal, but it makes me a violator. Major League Soccer says, we can't find David Beckham. He's David Beckham. We have to have Mas say that Beckham didn't know. We're going to call Beckham and say, hey, David, you didn't know anything that was going on. I know people are going to say, hey, that means you're not very involved, but it's better to be not involved than to be involved in that sort of chicanery. Okay, I'll do that. Hold on. Let me ask Posh. Hey, Posh, how do you feel about me not knowing anything that's going on in this team? I know it makes me look like an idiot, doesn't it? Yeah, but do you believe what we were doing? We were getting all these players to play and we were paying them extra. Yeah, I know they're not open on Sunday, Posh, but that's $500,000 we were giving them. They threw their old executive under the bus, though. They said Beckham had nothing to do with it. But Paul McDonough certainly did, the guy they hired to be their sporting director. Yeah, done. MLS suspended him. He's actually working for Atlanta now. He had been fired, went to work for Atlanta. Now, MLS is saying, what you did in Miami, you're in trouble. So Atlanta fired him. They suspended this poor COO. Beckham didn't know a thing. Marcelo Clore has a tweet that says, truth will prevail or some such crap. Oh, I had no idea. You think Jorge Mas did this on his own? You give me one small break. They all knew it. You think when you're running a team and you're doing side deals, you think that our GM didn't know what we were paying Bonds? Our CFO didn't know what we were paying Bonds? Our owner didn't know? I didn't know? We all knew. That'll do it for you, Inter Miami, and that'll do it for you, George Mas, and you too, David Beckham. Good luck with that team. And sometimes when you're trying to get ahead, you end up falling so far behind, you can never catch up. It's just business. Bye, George. This is nothing personal.